Hi, welcome back to AutoReview. My name is Patrick and finally we got our hands onto the brand new 2018 Hyundai i30N. And there have been a lot of tests already on this, however in really bad weather, and finally we have some nice weather. And what can I tell you about it? I drove it over the past 4 days and I fell in love with it. It's really super fun to drive hot hatch. So what do we have? The i30N is obviously a spec'd up version of the i30, which we reviewed already, so you'll find the video on the top right. Just click on the i. And the N stands not only for the Nürburgring, where Hyundai actually tested this car for nearly 2 years. It stands as well for Namyang, which is the test track and a test training center in Korea, where the car was developed. So it was developed in Namyang and on the Nürburgring. So spec-wise, most probably you're gonna have all the specs already, but I'll tell them to you either way. So we have a 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine producing 275 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. We have maximum torque of 353 Newton meters between 1,450 to 4,700 RPM. With the overboost function, we get 378 Newton meters between 1,750 to 4,200 RPM. 0 to 100 time is 6.1 seconds. Top speed is 250 kilometers per hour. Fuel consumption is, I tested on this whole range, was 6.4 liter the lowest, up to 9.2, and the average got up to 8.4 liters per 100 kilometer. With a fuel tank capacity of 50 liters and the lowest fuel consumption, you should reach maximum around 750 to 780 kilometers. However, it's really difficult to do that, not because it's impossible, it's because this car is so much fun and you're gonna drive it differently than fuel efficient. Now we have 19-inch wheels on this one and they look really nice, I have to say, with the Pirelli P0 in 235/35 R19, and we have a manual 6-speed gearbox in this one, so you can't get automatic or DSG gearbox in this one. Prices in Switzerland at the moment with an offer start at 35,990 Swiss francs. Here we have the optional N pack on board, which gives you things like navigation, parking sensors, reverse camera, and so on and so on. And that one would get to 40,890 Swiss francs. Now, as usual, I'll show you the car from inside, however, as a short version, because you can watch the i30 video, which is pretty much the same thing, other than the steering buttons, which I'll show you in a moment, as well as some functions on the board, which are exclusive to the N version. And there is a little bit difference in the boot, which I'll show you as well. Before we get to that, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you're informed about any new video, and hopefully we're gonna have more performance cars, so I will be able to compare them and tell you what I think about them. Okay, so what do I think about the design? So in the front, obviously, we have a very large grille, very aggressive, with the i30N logo, the N logo here. We have the red stripe on the spoiler lip in the front, BLED lights, which comes stock, and that is something that comes as well stock in the i30N, so even in the lowest version of the i30 you have BLED lights. Then the mentioned 19-inch wheels with Pirelli P0 tires on it and red calipers, again with the N logo on it. Then roofline continues into a black spoiler, which obviously generates some downforce, and with a top speed of 250, obviously you need that as well. What I like as well is in the bumper you'll have a little kind of flap here, which is integrated, obviously aerodynamics as well. And then in the rear, we're gonna see in a moment, we have the dual exhaust, which is one of the main highlights of this car. And honestly, this is, if not, this is one of the major points, selling points for this car. And again, we have the red stripe on the bottom. So, but to the rear we're going to come in a moment, so let's check the interior first. And before we get into the car, please hit the subscribe button, activate the bell icon on the bottom so you're informed of any video. And thank you very much Garage Buchseele AG in Goldswil, right over there, who were so kind to provide this car to me. So please look them up if you're interested in the i30N or any other Hyundai, SsangYong or Citroën. So that's it, let's hop inside. Alright, so the i30N from inside, and the only things I'm gonna tell you about is the steering wheel with those amazing 2 buttons, the seats, and a little bit of the infotainment screen, because everything else is pretty much the same. Now, if you want to see how much space we have here, please check the i30N video, as I mentioned, on the top left already. Now, main differences are, as I mentioned, the steering wheel we have here all the shortcut buttons for the assist systems as well. We have on board lane departure and active lane departure assistant. However, no front radar and no blind spot assistance, which are not available at this point. Now, most interesting is the button on the left, which changes between 3 drive modes: normal, sport and eco, and everything changes accordingly in color. So you have normal, which is white, sport is red, and eco is green. And then if you're actually going for the race flag or the checkered flag on the right side, we will go into N mode, which you have 2 modes as well. We have the N mode, which puts everything in sport with the ESP on, and then you can put custom. You can go into settings, or Einstellungen in this case, and you can adjust everything here. So we have the engine between normal, sport and sport plus. We have the RPM, so the rev match basically, off, normal, sport and sport plus. We have the electronic differential, which we have normal and sport, which gives you more stability in the corners. Most important one is the exhaust one, which is normal, sport and sport plus. And it's just amazing. You're gonna hear it later. Go into suspension, you have normal, sport and sport plus again. The steering, normal, sport and sport plus, and the ESC, normal, sport and off. Now, this car comes with a launch control. To do that, it's in the manual on section 5, page 25. Yeah? And what it says is, have the car in neutral, engage the clutch, engage the first gear, hold the clutch, engage the N mode, or in this way custom, and turn off the ESC. It's very important to ESC. Then rev the car, or basically accelerate full throttle. Then it will engage launch control, and you'll be able to adjust the rev, or the starting rev, with the cruise control lever here. So you can either bring the revs up or down. Thing is, I could not try it out. The car is not even 1,000 kilometers, so it's not broken in properly. I didn't want to try this. This is what the manual says. Sorry, I can't show it to you. But another thing I was able to try out is, if you go to the home screen, to the N mode button, is then this indicator here, which you have again all the custom settings. Then you have a lap timer, yeah, and you have a 0 to whatever speed you would like to do. So I tried 0 to 100. And I managed, with the manual gearbox, without the launch control, 6.3 seconds from 0 to 100. And this is something I mentioned as well in the beginning. It's not easy to do that because you have to shift manually, right? So it's not automatic that does everything for you. You just stand on the brake, accelerate, and it goes, you know. So you still have to have driving skills in this car. Again, 6.1 is what Hyundai claims for the 275 horsepower version one. In Switzerland, we do not get the smaller 250 horsepower one, which is supposed to be 6.4 seconds. So for trying it once, actually, it's pretty good to reach 6.3. And further on, we have G-force meter, which is live as well, works. It shows the indicator on how much turbo boost you used. You can change it PSI, KPI, and bar, and the speed you were driving at that time, the torque, as well as the horsepower. So these are the additional functions that you see here. Other than that, we have heated seats, heated steering wheel, and so on. However, this is all part of the exclusive pack. Now, one important thing are the seats. Very comfortable. I love the materials. Again, we have the N logo in here, and they give you really good side support. Again, in the N exclusive pack, they're electrically adjustable with electric lumbar support, and obviously everything electric. Other than that, it's manual. And one more thing is, we can extend the seat to have a little bit more area where the legs are resting on. Push start button. Everything else is explained in the i30 video. I have actually a few criticizing points, which I'll tell you later when we drive as well. Is one, a resolution of the screen. Okay, it's okay, it does its job, but I wish it would be a little bit more high resolution. I have seen navigations which look better. However, again, most of the time you won't be caring about this, because this is what you care about: the exhaust, this, and the seats, and what the car delivers and puts on the street. Second thing is, if you're driving fast and you're thirsty, do not buy cans like the slim cans, because there are some spaces here, however only on one of the two sides, and therefore if you put your energy drink to have energy to drive the car, you see what I mean. And third one is the armrest, which you can't slide forward, you can lift. It's a little bit far off for driving to the track. Before actually racing on the track, it would be nice if you could adjust this to have a little bit more arm support here. That's it for the front. We quickly hop in the back, then the boot, and then we drive. Now, don't get fooled. It looks like I have no space. That's because in the electric seat option, we have 3 settings of how the seat goes back. So we have a comfort function, which is now in the medium setting. So every time we turn off the car, the seat slides to the back. Now this is medium setting, so it can even go further back. So you have to be careful with that. If you turn off and the seat comes back and someone is sitting here. However, you can obviously close it as well or turn it off, and then the seat will be more in the front. So we do have actually more space than that. And you see I'm all the way back, but if you sit like this, it's no issue at all. Headrests, okay, these are the highest positions for the headrest. In the middle, again, as you sit a little bit higher as well. And you have actually a little bit transmission tunnel, which is actually amazing. I've seen cars where the transmission tunnels are like that. You shouldn't be higher than, I guess, 150, 55. Here, sorry, it's a microphone. Here actually it's okay from the headrest, could be a little bit higher because it's kind of in my neck. However, we have more than enough headroom. You see this? Now let me close the door. We have the electric window here. Sorry, I had to turn on the engine to show you how low the window goes. Not all the way. A little bit is left, however you have a little bit area where you can put the hand out if you would like to. And you see as well we have a tinted window. So let me close this one up. We have space in the door bins for drinks, nets on the rear side of the seats. We have a light in the middle, handle, hook. So we have 3 handles, 2 hooks in the back. Then 3 3-point seat belts, ISOFIX left and right. Armrest with cup holders, plastic, no spacers, not rubberized. However, good height, but connectivity wise, 0. So no ventilation here for the air conditioning, so it's a dual zone air conditioning, and no USB port or 12-volt power socket. Now, seats are as nice as in the front. Obviously, you give a little bit less side support. However, again, now you see I have really plenty of space. The seat in front is adjusted to my height. So that's it. And you can hear the exhaust already, just wait for it. And let's quickly check the boot and see how much space we have there. Alright, so let's get to the back of the i30N, because this one looks pretty nice as well. So as I mentioned, roof spoiler with a triangle brake light. Then here this kind of flap integrated in the bumper, or in, yeah, the side of the bumper. Then the dual exhaust, which is amazing. Red stripe on the bottom, i30N. Then reverse camera is just below the Hyundai logo. If we open the boot, which is obviously not electric because we want to save weight, we have the cover that obviously lifts up, and the boot capacity is this much. I'm going to put it in here. However, as I mentioned, this one is a little bit reduced because we have the bar in between the left and the right, so between the seats and the boot, which gives you, if I correctly remember, 14% more stiffness but 6% less boot space. And actually, if you lift it up, we have just a compartment compressor kit with where you can put like small items and cleaning stuff. And if you fold down the seats, which you do from the side, it goes very quickly. You'll see the bar is pretty much on the bottom, so there is no flat boot. You have a really high step over the bar and then into or on top of the seats. So it's still practical. I mean, come on, it's a hot hatch, but it's still boot-wise, it's not bad. And obviously I would take the bar there because it's just nicer. It just looks sporty and obviously gives you more stiffness and stability. So enough of blah blah. Now let's get in the car, turn on the N mode button and enjoy. It's a little bit warm outside. It's well, it says 16 degrees, but it's actually more because in the sun obviously it's warmer. Now, first we're gonna drive through town, and we're driving now in Echo. And I'm gonna turn off the AC fan a little bit in a moment, yeah, so you're gonna hear better. So we have a shift indicator, and one thing I like as well, we don't not only have a shift indicator, we have as well a shift gear indicator, so which gear we're in, and it tells you obviously up and down and which gear you're in, which is something I like. Now again, average fuel consumption I had was 8.4 liters on 599.3 kilometers average. Lowest 6.4, highest 9.2. Everything clear to reach, everything easy to reach. We have an electric seat constellation, 2 drivers you can set. Steering wheel you can adjust in reach and brake, which is good. Dual zone air conditioning, reverse camera, navigation, 12-volt power socket, USB, another 12-volt power socket with wireless charging for phones that support that, heated seats in 3 settings, again in the N pack version, heated steering again in the ESC on and off, parking sensors on and off, and start-stop on and off. Manual handbrake, 2 cup holders, and the armrest. And yeah, compartment for glasses, lights. We have lights here which you manually have to turn on and off, and that's it for the practical stuff. Everything else, i30 video. Now, what I mentioned before is this is the first car, in my opinion. For example, I drive in private, or our car is Skoda Octavia RS as a diesel, and we have the DCC, which is a well, adaptive suspension as well, which this one has as well. However, in our car, obviously it's a family saloon, right? Oh, sorry, family station wagon. It's obviously a different setup because you can load more weight and obviously cargo. But you feel a little bit of a difference between comfort and sport. In this one, it's a lot, and I like it. So really, the difference is huge. Yeah. Now, let me see if we're gonna find a piece of road that is a little bit bumpier. We're gonna go on the highway as well. Engine is warm. We have as well an indicator here. Oil temperature is nearly fine again because we obviously let the car cool down after we shot these parts there. And you have an actual indicator for the boost pressure and the torque, as well as the oil temperature, obviously. Now, cruise control, great, starts at 30 kilometers an hour. I love that, very good. Lane departure, active lane departure, you can turn it off. You can have one that only indicates, you can have one that alerts you and steers back. Starts at 60 kilometers an hour, like pretty much all of them, so we don't use them in the city, I guess. Air conditioning is fine, seats are amazing, I really love them. And now let's listen to the sound. You heard it a little bit outside already, but now we don't hear anything because I don't accelerate. We're just cruising down. Now we heard a little bit. So temperatures are fine. Everything is. That was the rev match. Let's go. And we have not only a shift indicator, we have as well a RPM flash, which is on top of it. It goes white, white, yellow, yellow, white, white, yellow, red, red, blinking. And then obviously you have to shift the higher you rev. When the engine is cold, it actually not only shows you where the red is, but it shows you like an orange, where you shouldn't rev above that. Obviously you shouldn't rev a cold engine or give it full blast when the temperature of the oil and obviously the engine is not up. Rev match, rev match, rev match, rev match. The second gear doesn't work. Obviously I had the clutch engaged, don't worry. And just the sound this car makes is just so addicting, so addictive. You just want to drive the whole time like that. And obviously now we have everything in sport, right? So you do have a little bit of body roll, so it's not super stiff, and obviously it's still a daily driver. You can daily drive this car. And what is most amazing for me, and again, I can't say it often enough, is you get a performance car like this with the launch control functionality, with the electronic differential, with the valve exhaust, 275 horsepower, and you get a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty. it's just amazing. I mean, guys, sorry if I repeat myself multiple times in this video. Where in the world do you get that? Yeah. And if you consider as well that this is pretty much the first performance car from Hyundai, which is really serious performance. There was a coupe before, but that wasn't like what this is, right? It shoots. Come on, it shoots. And yes, you get this with the Golf GTI. This DSG, Kürzen, we call it in German, DSG farting. But this is different, this is not a farting, because this is not an automatic, this is a manual. Yeah, you just go off the gas. And sometimes, if you have the window open, there's not too much wind, you hear the turbo whistle a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes when it revs down, it like does like that. That was the lane departure, by the way, just now. And it's just awesome. The gears are very short, nice, and very clear. So it's easy to find them. So it's nothing like. And they have a tactile like feedback to it, which I like. I love the steering wheel. Really nice thickness, not too thin, not too bulky, and. Come on, it's really fun. It's really fun to drive. Okay, so a few points that I would have to criticize is the one I mentioned here already. Screen, armrest, cup holder. The fuel capacity or tank volume. 50 liters is not too bad, but considering that most people who will drive this car will go sporty, you'll run out of fuel. Let's say if you have a 10 liter fuel consumption, you'll make 500 kilometers, which isn't bad. Come on, I mean, I'm not saying this is bad, but maybe a 60 or 65 liter fuel tank would be nice as an option. And then talking about options is if you go for the full spec version one, which costs 5,000 more than the regular one, you have pretty much everything on board other than radar in the front, so to keep distance, and the blind spot assistance. So those things are missing. Doesn't matter what you buy, you can't get it in the i30N, which is would be nice if it would have it, you know. But all the nice things like heated seats, heated steering wheel, parking sensors, reverse camera, navigation, and a few things here and there, electric seats, okay, you don't need that, but all those comfort features to make it a full daily driver, you only get in the package. You can't get them individually, so you can't say I take the stock version, I want heated seats. If you want heated seats, you pay 4,900 francs to get everything else with it, even if you don't want it. And that is something that would have been nicer if there would be the option of getting like 1, 2, 3 things that you like. For example, heated seats for me, I would like. I don't need electric seats, but I would like to have heated seats. But I don't want to spend 5,000 francs for it. So that's one thing. Fuel tank capacity, I mentioned this, and that's pretty much it. Positive things: 5-year warranty, again, unlimited mileage, the engine, how alive it feels and how torquey it is. The thing is, you feel a big difference. So if you drive an Echo and you accelerate from stop, for example, in traffic, and you switch to N mode, you push the throttle just a little bit and the car jumps already forward. So it's so responsive. The gears are awesome. They go like clack clack, you know, like. Maybe you don't know, like old Lamborghinis from the 90s, you know, the manual ones, make like clack clack, or the Ferrari gearboxes. Just check an old video. It doesn't have the sound to it, but it has the feel to it. Seats are great. There's a Focus RS, which is obviously a different league because it's a 4x4. And seats are great. Space-wise, it's good. So it's a daily sports car. I mean, I call it sports car. It's actually hot hatch, but actually, if you think about it, today we have cars which 10 years ago were only sports cars had this much power. And today you buy a hot hatch for a very reasonable price and you get all this performance and drivability on a daily basis. And this is something important. Enough talking, exhaust. That's the one thing that I love and can't get in my head, that this is a league single exhaust stock on a car in Switzerland. I mean, why I'm saying this so many times is because Switzerland is so damn strict on anything that's loud and sporty, and it's very difficult to actually modify your car. And that you get this from Hyundai stock, amazing. And this is the one main selling feature, I would say, other than the power and this, you know, the handling and everything. It's just this exhaust. Now let me just put this down. And you just heard this. I mean, really, guys. That's it. I can't say anything else. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Garage Buxeli AG, who provided this car to me. You'll find the link in the description. And if you'd like to have more performance cars, please subscribe and stay tuned. And now, tunnel.